Just waiting for that sun to go down. What's going on, boys? Welcome to the channel. So today I actually would like to get a little more personal with you guys. On my journey, my walk with God and stuff. So a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, I'm not entirely sure, I made a video about how I have decided to kind of stop chasing girls, put that on the back burner, might not even ever do it. Now I realized something today that really resonated with me. I don't remember where I heard it or saw it, but it really did resonate with me. Not everybody, I remember now, but I'll tell you guys later. Not every single man, is suited to be able to get married. Some people just aren't wired that way, You might be attractive as hell. You might have good looks. You might be tall, like 6'5", 6'8", and you still are super attractive. But at the end of the day, you also might not be socially able to get with a woman, And I feel like with everything that my generation has gone through in terms of how we've been brainwashed into thinking, oh, I need a girlfriend, I at least I think that's how it started with me personally. When I was a child, I'd see all these movies and TV shows, and they all glamorize this this dream girl. The number one example I can think of is how in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1, obviously the movie was about Spider-Man, but one of the main plot points of that movie was MJ and Peter. And that was number one. Because I watched that movie so many damn times. And then just on TV, Timmy Turner would be obsessed with that girl with the black long hair. I think her name's Isabel or something like that. Jezebel. Jezebel would make sense though, for real. If you read the Bible, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, it's just crazy how my generation really did grow up on this material of just really brainwashing people into believing from a young age that having a girlfriend is the key to success. Not even necessarily a wife, just that's my cat. That's my cat. His name's Olaf. He's in a mood right now. He wants my attention. It's just funny, and I thought about it. And today, like I said earlier, not everybody is able to settle down and get married. Some people have different purposes. And I really thought about that for a second. And there are things that in life that I want to do, obviously, right? For example, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a musician so bad, right? I wanted to be a famous musician like Elvis Presley. Oh my gosh, you guys have no idea about my Elvis Presley phase. I was obsessed with Elvis, and I wanted to be just like him when I grew up. I idolized that man, and I started getting into music at a very young age, very young. I mean, I'd have guitar lessons. I had my own acoustic guitar that I got rid of, but it's childhood memory. I had to get rid of it eventually, though. And now that I'm older and wiser, I realize that me being a professional musician probably isn't gonna pan out. It's probably not in the cards for me. I might be maybe a little talented. Maybe a little. I don't want to call myself talented at music like that, because I know so many people who have taught me things, and they're far more talented than I am, And I don't even think that's me being humble. I just think that's the truth, Anyway, uh, so, there are things in life that you you can't do. You're just not wired for it, right? Like, another example, I'm not wired to play in the NBA, obviously. I'm good enough to play in a semi-pro league, right, and get paid to play that way, but I'm not good enough to play in the big leagues, right? But at the same time, like, there's a humility that comes with realizing these things, and it's a nice kind of humility, It makes you kind of sit back, look at it from a wider angle, and say, so if I'm not put on this earth to do the things that I thought I'm here to do, or I thought I wanted to do, then what am I actually here for? And once you realize that your purpose is probably a lot bigger than just playing music for tens of thousands of people or being an NBA legend, Think about that for a sec. Your purpose in life, if it's not something incredible like that, it's even more incredible. It's even more incredible than being a legend in the eyes of many. Because I tell you what, most legends don't even know who they are. Think about it like this. I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but think about this for a sec. As the older you get, I'm sure you'll resonate with this, but as a young kid, I didn't understand this. If you were rich and powerful, right, would you want to be famous or would you want to be low-key? Like, nobody knows who you are, and yet you live, lavishly. You have all these beautiful houses, estates, cars. You can pretty much buy 20,000 shopping malls across, a small country or across multiple countries, and yet no one knows who you are. So you're free to just walk around in public, right, and not do anything. Alternative to you're super rich and you're famous, so everyone knows who you are. So you go down the street and you need a bodyguard with you. You need all these, extra shit that really, if you're not very well known, of course you'd probably still want security. But I mean, like, in terms of, it's just probably easier, and I'd take being rich and famous and not being publicly known at all any day. I'd take being rich and famous any day, obviously, but I mean, if I could choose between the two, I'd go with incognito mode, I guess my point is, when you really step back and look at your whole, the whole reason why you're on this earth, if you think about it, and you look at it from a perspective of, I did not get to accomplish the things I wanted to do, but I'm going to accomplish something even greater, right? Again, think of it like, I didn't get to play a concert in front of 1 million people and inspire millions, right? But I'm going to do something so much freaking greater, That's how you gotta look at it. And that's how God wants you to look at it at the end of the day, It's said that, I'm pretty sure it says in the Bible, I don't know where, keep in mind, I try to read the Bible as much as I can, but I'm still, like, relatively new to it. It says in the Bible that God wants you to work, but I don't think he wants you to work in this traditional sense. Does that make sense? Like, work can really just be working on yourself and getting your head right. You know, work can be chasing your dreams. Work can be, it doesn't have to be working a 9 to 5, you know? Because at the end of the day, that's not really work. In the sense that God probably wants it to be. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like if God came down to this earth and he saw a man working 40 hours a week. I don't know how much that is in terms of jobs, but let's just say a lot of hours a week, like too much, and he goes home and he barely gets paid. God wouldn't call that work, you know, because at the end of the day, he's not working. He's just slaving away, you know. I feel like there's a big difference between the two. And so I really just wanted to come on here and talk about that. This did all start with, you know, me talking about how my journey with not having a girlfriend is going. And I guess in this whole conversation, how that really relates to it is I'm just not wired that way, right? I'm not wired to have a girlfriend, and that's fine. That's completely fine with me. That comes with a lot of baggage and, you know, drama. God forbid I ever have, you know, a baby on accident. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Oh, I'd have to take care of the kid. She'd probably leave me for, or no, it'd be like she leaves and then I'd have to pay like child support. And yeah, I can't do all that, man. I've too much. You know, nah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't have a kid. Nah, not me. Nope. As much as I'd want to, I can't. It's just not in the cards. And you know, that's fine because at the end of the day, I'm going to do something amazing. So, incomprehensibly amazing, awesome sauce. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys are here from my last short video where I hit a sick Kyle Leonard shot, yeah, you guys are like totally in for a great time here because all I do is post basketball content. I make video game content. I make a bunch of stuff. I make these little TED Talks, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.